Keith Vaz, you've accused the police of a catalogue of errors in your initial report. What is your view and the view of the committee of standards at the Metropolitan Police?
This is a unanimous view of the committee, that the investigations could have been carried out in a much, much more thorough way. And the police themselves agree. Mr. Yates made it very clear that his establishment of facts in 2009 was very poor. And we thought that this was a serious misjudgment. If we had had a thorough investigation of the facts, then those involved in criminality could have been dealt with much earlier.
What does this say, though, to the public? We're talking about senior officers at the Metropolitan Police, some of whom are in charge of counter-terrorism. And you've said about one of them, Andy Hayman, who was a senior officer at the Met during the first phone hacking investigation, that we do not expressly accuse Mr. Hayman of lying to us in his evidence, but it's difficult to escape the suspicion that he deliberately prevaricated in order to mislead us. This is very serious. What does that say about officers at that level in the Met?
Well, we were very concerned about the evidence in particular that Mr. Hayman gave. We were concerned that this matter was not being treated in a thorough and open way, and we were concerned about the relationship that obviously exists with some of the ex-employees at the News of the World and the way in which they got contracts to work for the Met. What has happened since, of course, is that the Commissioner has resigned, Mr. Yates has resigned, and we now need to make sure that this crisis that is engulfing the Met is dealt with swiftly. And that's why I hope that we will have a new Commissioner as soon as possible. But also, to be fair to the Met, every single witness from the police said that they could have made better progress if News International had not deliberately thwarted their investigation. So these are issues that need to be dealt with.
Was it improper of the Assistant Commissioner John Yates to try and brief the Prime Minister on the police phone hacking investigation?
No, it wasn't improper for him to ask, and I do not believe that it was wrong of Ed Llewellyn, the Chief of Staff, to say no. I don't think the Prime Minister should be briefed on ongoing criminal investigations.
But they are briefed. Prime Ministers are briefed on ongoing police operations, aren't they?
They're not, as far as I know, briefed on ongoing criminal investigations, though, as I did raise yesterday, the fact that Sir Paul did inform Mayor Johnson before the arrest of Damien Green. He said that was an exceptional case. Frankly, I don't think Prime Ministers should be briefed in this way. They ought to be briefed on national security issues, but not on ongoing criminal investigations. As you know, Sir Paul has made it very clear he didn't want to compromise the Prime Minister, and that's why he didn't want to tell him about Mr. Wallace. So I think if you adopt that attitude, you should see it all the way along.
What's your view to your Labour colleagues' claim that Buckingham Palace warned against hiring Andy Coulson as the Director of Communications at Number 10?
We've taken evidence from many, many people, but we've not taken any evidence from Buckingham Palace. So you'll excuse me for not commenting specifically on that, because I have no knowledge of what Buckingham Palace says. They certainly haven't written to the Home Affairs Select Committee to express their view. But one thing that does come out of the evidence yesterday is Lord MacDonald's assertion that News International's previous solicitors, Harbottle and Lewis, had a file for 4 years which he took 5 minutes to read, and immediately he ascertained that there was criminality alleged in that file. So I think we do need to know why this lay with a solicitor's firm for 4 years without being acted upon. And that was the feature of this entire investigation. 11,000 documents not being looked at, a file kept for 4 years not being looked at. There was no thoroughness in this investigation, and that is deeply regrettable from the point of view of the victims of hacking.
OK, Keith Vaz, thank you very much.